analysis of the microstructure in disease and beyond.
I would like to thank Jay and thank GQ and Joe for the invitation. So when I first received the email from GQ, and then I replied, you must send it the wrong person because I don't do cardiovascular at all. But anyway, thanks very much for inviting me to come in. And first of all, I'd like to highlight our department. And we have, so department faculty research in probably 4 general areas. So we have 21 tenure track faculty and 2 lecturers. So those 21 faculties are doing, one of them is, of course, in tissue engineering and regenerative medicine, which is leading really by 2 giants in the field. And another thing very important for biomedical engineering at Columbia is neuroengineering, because we actually have a brand new neuro institute, mind, brain, and behavior institute starting up. So therefore, I think it's a fantastic opportunities for approaching different directions, ultrasound, microscopy, and MRI are the focus. And the biomedical imaging is really traditional strength in our department. I started the department about 20 years ago, and it's continued to be so, especially in the MRI. So we hired Tommy Vaughn, which actually going to be the czar of the whole Columbia MRIs from the engineering school campus, medical school campus as a new brain institute. So it's very exciting. Biomechanics was the original strength, which is our founding department chair, Van Mao, who just retired by the end of this year, and we added more faculty now. So we're actually looking for talents. We actually have 3 searches going on right now. So in bioinformatics, in the single cell, as another one is in regenerative medicine with department medicine. They're surgery, so welcome to here. So now, so I say I'm out of here. I'm a bone person. Have nothing to do with cardiovascular, but of course, vasculature is a very important bone. So I'm interested in osteoporosis. I just go quickly. This is what happens when you're getting old. You're lost in bones. And then if you look in just by eye, you can see even though the trabecular bone structure looks very complex, but they also have some principles. You can see this kind of structure looks like it's a very thin plate. We call it plate-like structure. And those ones you can see here, the rod-like structure. So you can see by eye, you're not only lost in bones, but also you actually have a parent transition, lost a lot of plates. You end up with a lot of rod-like structure here. So we are very, and then another disease we got also interesting is reversed of osteoporosis, which is called osteoarthritis, which is also very important because right now we don't understand how osteoarthritis occurs, and also there is absolutely no treatment strategy until you cannot bear your pain anymore. You have a total joint replacement. Just see what I have been here. And then we know a lot of more thing about osteoarthritis now is a lot of changes actually happen in bone first, and in bone actually it's related to resorption. But at the end stage, osteoarthritis actually have a lot of bones. I have osteosclerosis. So then the question how these 2 are linked actually is very unknown. So we have been interested in this structure for a long time. So you can see by eye, you can see there's a plate-like structure and rod-like structure. So I would believe those things are very important. So we developed this image analysis technique, or 3D technique, such that you can see taking those 3D images and automatically they can separate those individual morphology, plates versus rods in here. And so therefore, when you quantify those ones, and then you can define those green ones are the plates, and the rod one, the red one are rod. So therefore, you can count how many of the plate bone form fraction and how many of them are rod bone form fraction. Just show why the plates is important. You can demonstrate it here by the mechanics in here. If you plot the elastic modules indicating how strong bones are versus the volume fraction, how percent of bone you have in here. So you can see the yellow one is really describe the mechanical property of the whole bone volume fractions, and pretty well. But if you're taking the green one, that only contains the plates. But you can see the plates, the bone volume fraction describe the mechanical property almost 100%. So therefore indicating that's why the plate is very, very important. And also another good thing developing here now, in the peripheral side, you actually can have a high resolution imaging technique. And the second generation have voxel size about 61 microns here. So this is myself in here. I've been scanned left and right and front and back and many, many times, okay? And so therefore, when you're living, you actually can creating a models, analyze them. So this is just diamond case, what can happen. So these are vertebral fracture patients versus controls. You can see the normal one have very nice in the distal tibia and as well as radius. And then, but in fracture patients, definitely they have deteriorations in the microstructure here. So you can quantify them by our analysis. And then if you quantify them by plate and rod-like structure, you can see green here is plates, this one is control, and this one is a fracture. You can definitely see the many more red in the fracture group, and then many more greens in here. So therefore, indeed, there's actually plate to rod like a transition. Quantify them, indeed, you have significant reduction. Very dominantly is plate-like bone fractions. Little bit loss in the rod bone-like fraction, but what happened here is how much plate versus rod ratio. You can see the reduction of plate to rod ratio means you have transition from a plate-like structure to a rod-like structure. And those are reflected by the whole bone mechanical property as well as trabecular property can drop in like a 23%. So those are going to translating quite a lot of indication here. So in osteoporosis, you lost in trabecular plates, you lost in axial trabeculi, we did not talk about it here, but definitely you have plate to rod connections, and then also you lost those connectivities. So in general, just making these bones are not necessarily a good bones here. So, but the more important now is osteoporosis is almost solved because many drugs that is actually available, but OA is very, very challenging, as I mentioned here. So we got very interested in this one here. This is an example of a called terminal disease because the patient is so painful, then you have to go to total knee replacement. But you can see the magnification of the bone is not actually uniform. You can see the medium side almost do not have cartilage in here. But you look at the lateral side, actually it's a beautiful cartilage. It's not normal, right? So and then subchondral bone versus the bone supporting load actually is quite different. Let's demonstrate here. The rod is going from mostly the transverse directions, and look at here first. This is a femoral leg. So the rod is in the transverse direction most, and then your plate supporting load actually most in the longitudinal direction, the supporting load. But also the numbers in here you can see quite different. It's same side. You have 25,000 plates versus 4,000 plates. So you have many plates in other locations. But you look at the subchondral bone, actually it's different. You can see the rod it is in the transverse direction, and the plates, interesting, have two humps. And one is in the longitudinal direction, another one actually close to transverse direction. And also very important one is look at numbers here. So this number is 1,100, this is 400. So you reverse other locations. You actually have a lot of the rods providing very compliant beds for here. So we take advantage of those total knee replacement. They actually have medium side, actually have a mild OA, and then on the medium side have the lateral side have mild OA, and the medium side have severe OA. So therefore, we can take in the volume they can examine them. So this is a whole CT of the whole plateau from the surgery. You can see by eye, you actually have nice cartilage in the normal ones in here. If you follow in here, this side I have mild OA, but I actually have an inclined thickness. It's not normal because I have osteophytes, also have microfractures in here. But the cartilage have full thickness in here. So if you quantify them by histology, in those areas, you can see that actually cartilage can be classified as normal because the actually scores are not significant difference from the control. So now, if we look at these cases in here, even the cartilage is normal, but you can see that there's significant loss of rod bone volume fraction and then significant change of plate bone volume fraction ratio. So they actually have opposite. Even you cannot look at by eye, they actually phenotype already changed, change from rod-like structure to more plate-like structure. And then if you look at the plate number, it's actually the same. And then those change is actually by number. You lost in amount of rod in there. You do not lost in by thickness. Actually, lost in by numbers. So that's bad thing because you lost in those numbers. They're gone. Means the rod-like trabecular are gone. And then of course you look at the medium side, the OA everywhere. But interestingly, the rod-like loss bone volume fraction still there. Okay, and the plate bone volume fraction of course is going for the roofs in here. And then the loss of lumbar here is actually significantly low. So therefore, there's some interesting thing about loss in the rod-like just fine structures in the OA may have something to do with osteoporosis. And it's confirmed these kind of things actually probably occurs very early, we hypothesize. Because in those guinea pig model, one type of model will develop osteoarthritis in 4 months. Okay, so this is the second month or 3 months. You can look at the cartilage still normal. But you can see here, in the second month and third month, those animals are already showing loss of rod-like trabecula. So actually, even in this spontaneous model, you actually lost him by this rod-like structure first. So we are particularly interested in looking at that. So as I say, OA is a big thing, 27 to 30 million OAs in the United States. And one of the things is causing OA is actually young people. So if you have an ACL tear, okay, and then those ACL tear happens 200,000 per case per USA, and then the unfortunate thing, what happened here, ACL tear will actually have early OA. 50% of those patients will have early OA in 5 to 10 years. So therefore, right now there's no understanding. And then if you do construction, everybody does construction now, so you can return normal function, but that one have no impact whether they have an OA or not. That's suggesting something happened early. So we had a very bold hypothesis. Okay? A lot of OA actually have something to do with early one, you lost in rods. You can see lost in rods in here. Those rods are gone. Your remaining rods and plates become thicker and thicker, and eventually you're getting really dominant plate-like structure. That's going to create uncomfortable conditions for the cartilage. Then cartilage begin to degenerate and go on, go on. So we want to test in this one in the ACL tear patients. Fortunately, you actually have a technique now, okay? You actually can scan your knee. So this is very uncomfortable because one is not supposed to scan the knee, okay? And because you need to stuck in your feet in very, very long. So if you're too big or too tall, you cannot be included in the study. But I can study myself in here, and you can see it's go green. But I'm very uncomfortable. You put the other knees, other legs over there. So this is my knee, okay? Assuming actually it looks pretty good, okay, here. And so we have a couple of favorites. So now you can analyze from femoral side as well as the tibial side. This is showing the regions we're developing. And we have four patients enrolled in our program now. And then, so this is the first patients. I'm very excited because you can see after we have 3 visits, immediately they have a bone loss. That one is known. People know it's loss in bones. That's fine. There's no problem. But immediately you can see there's maybe actually increase of plate bone function, but definitely the loss in rod. Okay, loss in rod here. And then this one, the plate rod ratio, very, very early on, shows it is there's something changing here. So we are very excited to do this because this could be tells us, you know, actually early detection tells who is going to have OA, who is not going to have OA, and also brings the intervention because we know quite a lot how to inhibit bone resorption and prevent the osteoporosis. So by the end, trabecular bone is just a bunch of plates and rod, and then it's very important for those plates are important, and this is important here. And then there are 2 diseases. Too much is not good. Too little is not good either. So therefore, you have to seek in the balance. So I don't have time to talk about beyond. I'm just showing one slide. I'm also interested in different people actually have different bones. So you probably don't know that. So this is a Chinese woman and versus Caucasian woman. And you can see here, just by eye, they actually have a tremendous plates. So they're fundamentally different. So there are 2 times bunch of plates in here. So that's why also explaining why the Chinese women have less of fracture. And then I'd be interested doing this particular area that has these minorities, and mostly minority, they called Uyghurs. So these Uyghurs are 75% Caucasian and 25% Asians. So therefore, these are the one. But I tried to do that for about 10 years now. And I'm not able to convince people buying a $400,000 machine to do this for me. You know, I would say, you know, let's form an institute such that, you know, we can recruiting patients and genetically, you know, typing them from here. I'm interested in bone. I'm interested in osteoarthritis. I did not write this one for this visit. I actually have the one in here a long time ago. So this is the only link I have with this group. Okay, so if you're interested, you can join me for cardiovascular disease and cancer. So now, I finally made a progress. The idea is, if they don't build it, you actually go to see them. So this is a trailer. I'm actually in the manufacturer right now. Okay, so this is a trailer designed, and you can see the trailer in here. Actually, this is a CT machine I'm going to put here, as bone density machines you put in here. But there's still space for small equipment you want to do in here. And then expanding here, these are 2 bunk bed, double bunk bed. This is a double bunk bed, and then can sleep for 4 people. And then you have little kitchens here, bathroom here, and then have a huge diesel generator in the back. So you can survive in the wildlife for 2 weeks without any sustain. So I call this project the Silk Road Project. Literally, I want to go following the Silk Road, studying those minorities and getting bones. So if you're interested in disease, its variation by genetic background, you're more than welcome to come to China, and we can ride in these trailers to here, to in the Charlie here. So it'll be fun. And thank those people who have done the work, and thank you very much for your patience. Very different, yeah.
What's the fee for riding in the trailer?
It's free. It's free, yeah.